So without further talks, let's get started. Today I will first shortly introduce CustomTools for those that are not familiar with the product yet. Then I will walk you through the main differences of different PDM editions and tell in detail how CustomTools and PDM Standard complements each other. The intention of this webinar is not to demonstrate CustomTools PDM professional integration, but that will be a separate topic in upcoming webinars. I will show in practice how CustomTools works with SOLIDWORKS PDM Standard and what you need to take into consideration. I expect this webinar to last about half an hour or so, and link to the recording will be sent to registrants and also published on the customtools.info website. Okay, so CustomTools has a powerful integration to SOLIDWORKS PDM Professional, but due to the limitations of PDM Standard Edition, we don't have a specific integration with PDM Standard, but CustomTools works with it to a certain extent. Let's go through some basics regarding SOLIDWORKS first and CustomTools and PDM. Not all of you may be familiar with either CustomTools or PDM or neither of them, but as you have registered to this webinar, I presume that you all are familiar with SOLIDWORKS at least. So CustomTools offers a time-saving tools for SOLIDWORKS that will help you to be more productive and bring some consistency to your design team in a flexible way. All CustomTools features are grouped under these 9 main features. As CustomTools only works inside SOLIDWORKS, with SOLIDWORKS files we are not forced to do any compromises, but the integration is really tight, as you will see in live demo part. For instance, what comes to the property management, and if you compare that to PDM, for instance, where the document car needs to work with multiple different file formats and in different applications. Product data management, or PDM, is the process of capturing and managing the electronic information related to a product, so it can be reused in business processes such as design, production, distribution, and marketing. It usually involves the use of a dedicated software application and a centralized database. This is true for both CustomTools and SOLIDWORKS PDM, as they both have Microsoft SQL Server as a backend. PDM typically encompasses multiple products, technical specifications, engineering models, so CAD models, design drawings, BOMs, and related documents. PDM software provides version control and security to ensure that the information stored in the central repository is accurate and up to date, which then in turn can reduce data processing and make operations such as manufacturing, for instance, more efficient. Version control and security is also the main reason that we don't position CustomTools as PDM, although especially many smaller design teams are using it like a PDM, so they don't have any other systems to take care of that task. SOLIDWORKS PDM Standard is a document management product offering that comes with SOLIDWORKS Professional and Premium versions. So if you already have either Professional or PDM premium version of SolidWorks, you also have then licenses for PDM Standard. The PDM Standard is based on the same architecture used by the current SolidWorks PDM Professional product. And the great benefit of that is that it makes PDM Standard fully compatible with PDM Professional, and then that allows you to easily upgrade from Standard to Professional at any time. Here is the list of PDM Professional features that are not available in the Standard edition or are really limited. And when we compare the PDM Standard versus CustomTools, in addition to the SolidWorks add-in, PDM Standard also has a draft site add-in, whereas CustomTools only provides add-in for SolidWorks. So we now only concentrate on the features that are inside SolidWorks. And in this chart, I have only included main features that are available either in PDM Standard or in CustomTools to highlight differences. Furthermore, I haven't gone into tiny details of each and every feature. Here we can see that in the big picture, the main benefit for CustomTools users to use SolidWorks PDM Standard is workflows, although they are a bit limited through revisioning of files, secure file access, and caching of files on a local CAD workstation, which obviously affects performance greatly. Like compare that if you need to use the files or open the files through a network connection from a shared network drive. On the other way around, CustomTools complements PDM Standard by adding search, serial numbers, advanced property management, print and file conversion, reporting, and ERP integrations. Many of these are also true for PDM Professional, but as said earlier, that's not in the scope of this webinar. This page is no longer very flattering from a PDM Standard perspective, but it really illustrates how much additional value CustomTools can bring to PDM Standard environment. And we will go in more details through these differences in a live demo. But let's stop chatting and move on to the part that interests everyone the most, I believe, the live demo. But before that, to capture your attention, I will launch a quick poll about PDM you are using. So if you don't mind, just shortly answer like which PDM system you are using, if any. And let's just wait a bit. There's questions coming in, so then we can share the results after you have finished replying that. It's interesting to see. Is they still coming replies? Okay, I think we are ready to close the poll and see the results. So here we can see the results. So most of you who are attending the webinar are using SolidWorks PDM Professional. And the second biggest share of the replies that you don't use PDM at all. And it's nice to see also that PDM Standard has 15% there, because that's the topic of this webinar, excuse me. Okay, so as promised, let's go to the demo. So I have here SolidWorks 2022 Service Pack 5 along with the PDM Standard, Vault, and also CustomTools 2022 Service Pack 2. So first, let's check first the searching the files. I have PDM here, and let's say that I would like to search. I have it open here already, the press assembly, but I would like to locate where it is on my hard drive or in my PDM. So we would obviously then open the search tool from here. And now I have the search tool in here, and I see here 2 different PDM vaults. And if we check my PDM environment, we can see that like I have 3 here. So, and based on the vault coloring, I have 1 standard, and that's missing from there. So I can't make search there. And here we can also quickly see the differences. So in PDM standard, there is a few different options there, but if we open professional vault, we see that there is quite a bit more different options. So this also bit illustrates that there is certain limitations in the standard edition. So what we have as alternative, we can close this search, and in CustomTools we have always search pane available here in the SolidWorks task pane. So we can just type in here the search condition, and as we can see, there is also like a autocomplete feature, so it remembers your previous searches. So we can, I was not logged in. It remembers those, so it makes the search really quick. And if I want to only search my assemblies, then I can filter based on the document type as well. So we index the file locations and all the custom properties, so you can have a Google style research. You don't need to search by specific attribute, but you can just type in the search condition in here. And if we would like to model a new file, so let's create a new part and save it inside PDM Standard Vault. Let's first quickly create some geometry there. You can just add here this kind of slot. And then we can add a couple of circles there. And then just add some dimensions to illustrate that what we can in CustomTools also pick the dimensions easily from the geometry. So let's add them here as well. We can add, for instance, 20 millimeter as diameter, and then let's define still the width, which can be, for instance, 50 millimeter, and then also the length of our part. So let's add here, for instance, 110. And we can, let's make it the sheet metal part. And 5 millimeter thickness is okay. So now we have a nice part there, and then the next step would be to enter some properties. And for that purpose, we use the CustomTools properties pane. And if using with the PDM standard, you should like define the properties or variables or attributes, how you want to call them, so that they match with the PDM ones. So I will show you soon like what that means in practice. Here in the CustomTools, we can define the project. that we want to save this part, so it defines, for instance, the location, save location of the part, and also, for instance, the default values specific to that project and so on. So we can either select it from the list, or then we can just simply type in, and then we can find the project. And CustomTools will generate the next available serial number from specific sequence. So now I have really simple setup, just like a running number sequence, but I could combine different values here, for instance, the project number or part of that, or then take the year number, or basically anything you need to use there. Then I can type in some values, so I can enter the values, and once again CustomTools can suggest the previous values, or I can use, for instance, dictionary to standardize my descriptions and select the word from there. And here I have already like a project information filled in. As we have a tight integration to SolidWorks, I can select material from the SolidWorks library that is then applied to part. Then we can use the coloring. So if we want to paint that part, and we could, for instance, pick this green color from there, and the weight is automatically calculated based on the geometry and selected material. We can define that this is built part, and we need some cutting to make the part, and this is made or will be made from the plate. So then we can just click here the dimensions. So then width, and last property is the length. And when the dimensions are linked here, if I ever change the geometry, this will automatically update. And here we have also some default values based on the designer, and we have composed a description too based on the selected attribute. So here we can see the raw material from where to cut this plate. And by hitting the OK, CustomTools will save this part to the correct location without any save as prompt, with correct file name, and I'm good to continue. So if we now go to the PDM, we should see that this part is in the vault, and we can go to see the properties here. And we see that now basically the same information I filled there is available also in here. So now I have create my card so that these variables match. We can create a drawing from this part just to demonstrate further on how CustomTools can help you to manage your files when you create copies of the files later on. We don't need to spend time in details how to create drawings, but just to quickly place some views there that we have the drawing in place. So just add the views there, and then let's have that one, and we can also add isometric view with shaded option so that we recognize the part later on. And we can save this one as well. And this is also automatically saved to the correct location without any additional prompt. And after this is done, we can close the drawing, and if we go back to the PDM, we can check this in, and along with the drawing. Like that. Now if we check here my data card, we can see that here is vendor, and if you remember, I didn't fill this vendor information when I was entering the properties in the first place. And if we go to see now the properties in the CustomTools, we see that vendor is empty, although this is mapped to the same property. And this is one of the pitfalls that you need to be aware if you are using CustomTools with the PDM standard, because there is no integration because of lack of API in PDM standard. We really cannot write the default values. So if you have defined the default values in PDM, like either to the folders or then in the data card, those are really not applied if you fill the properties with CustomTools. So the recommendation is that you should add those default values in CustomTools. And you can do everything that also in CustomTools. So for instance, in the options, when we have our projects, we can go, for instance, this PDM standard, and we have default values for the part. So we can just type in here the values that we want to have. So if there would be our vendor name, we could write it down here. I don't remember what that was, but it was, for instance, DPI design. So then that would be applied next time I create a new part using this project. So that is really important thing to keep in mind, that you are not missing some crucial information. Now when we have done our first part here, and if we would like to reuse it, we could easily do that by going to the properties, and I could then select a different project, Acme one, and CustomTools will automatically update the document number and related information, and I can just hit OK. Sorry, let's cancel. And this is also good demo effect, that this is in CustomTools 2022 working, that you can really cancel here and this pane remains open. What I was supposed to do is to change the color that we differentiate the part. So let's take the red one and hit the OK. So now CustomTools recognize that the file name has changed and ask me what I want to do. Let's create a copy. And then, yes, that is true, we have modified that. And then CustomTools recognize that there was a drawing for the original part, and do I want to copy that as well? And yes, I want to do that. So now if I open my drawing here, I have a copy for that already made, so I don't need to recreate that. So I have here the red one. Let's save that as well so it's updated. Like that, we can save all. And then we close the drawing, and we can check this part in along with the drawing. Like that. And then one additional benefit of using CustomTools search is that that can be also used to add components to your assemblies, not only like an open existing one. So if we now go to the search and we just model the bracket, if we search that one and change the search condition to search parts, we have these two new parts available in here. And if I would like to use, for instance, this green one in my design, I can simply drag and drop from here. And now it's in my design. So this is also like something that's maybe a bit hidden feature in CustomTools, but may come quite handy many times. Some of the features that are missing also in PDM standard, which you can benefit using CustomTools, is ability to easily create a documentation. Like you can paper print or you can export CAD files to different file formats. Once again, we don't need to go into details, but quickly demonstrate that. And now that we are using the PDM standard, there is no way to utilize tasks in PDM, but all the operations are run locally on your workstation in SolidWorks, but due to the way CustomTools processes the files, it's really efficient since we only open the file once and do all necessary file formats from there. So I have defined here, for instance, the spare parts catalog, and if I apply the template, we can see that there is already like two different rules selected. So we can create the JPEG files and then one single PDF booklet including all PDF drawings that are spare parts. And we can also change the layer to hide manufacturing information that is not needed to expose to the spare part book. And here we can still verify in the printing order that like which files are about to convert. So we also apply a filter there. So only the parts that are a spare part here are included in the batch job. On the other hand, we could create a manufacturing documents. So we discard the current selections and apply that template. And now we see that there is 3 different rules applied. So we create the DXF files, step files, and also the manufacturing drawings. And this time we don't touch the layers, but instead we add manufacturing quantity to each drawing. And once again, we can view the order from here, so we can see that now there is much more files converted. So for instance, DXF is created from the files that are sheet metal parts, and all the drawings are converted, and those files that requires machining are converted to step. So that's really useful feature. Regarding the reporting that is missing in the PDM standard, we can create various different kind of reports from CustomTools. So I can, for instance, launch it from here just by clicking the export. And let's skip this. We don't want to export to Odoo, but we create the Excel report. And here we have listing of all my parts currently in this assembly. And by hitting the export button, CustomTools will create a new Excel file containing all these components. And this time it will be saved to the PDM, to the same location than the main assembly is. And soon we should see that also there is things to consider. Yes, so we can't add the file to the vault or check it in because there is no API available. So now we see our Excel file here, and this is by the way like a fully customizable, but now it just demonstrates the cooperation with the PDM standard. So here I have all my parts, but if we go to see the file, so I can select the main assembly and open it in Explorer. So in other words, in my PDM vault view, we have the Excel file here that was just created, and we can see that it's local file. So if I'm not aware of this, no one else can see my Excel file. So what I need to do is that I need to right click and I need to add file to vault. So after this, it's part of the PDM vault, but still in order to allow others to use my Excel file, I need to check it in. So this is something that when working with the PDM standard, you need to do manually. And then what else we can do with this? Integrations are one of the things that are missing in PDM standard. Let's remove this from there. So we saw that we were using the export from the batch operations, but that command is available from multiple different places. So now I just opened it from here, the command manager, and instead of creating the Excel, we can create the Odoo ERP export. So we can compare here the BOM against the one in Odoo, and the yellow color means that all these components are new, so they don't exist in Odoo yet. And I don't want to manage the fasteners in ERP, so I can exclude it from here, and then I can just export. No, I don't want to save this to my assembly. And then CustomTools will just communicate with Odoo ERP in the background and export all these parts to my Odoo ERP. Did I hit that? Yes, I want to continue. I have Odoo Cloud version, so after this finishes the operation, we can see the result. So export is complete, and if I would now refresh this view, we can see, yes, we want to compare. We see that now all my items should exist in Odoo except these two that we didn't want to export. So here, if we go to the Odoo and select products, I see all my parts here. And we have also the one bill of material now available, like here. And then one more thing that you need to be aware. So what you can do easily with PDM, oh, I don't have the PDM add-in here anymore, but it doesn't matter. So if we go back to my PDM vault here, and let's locate some of the parts that we just created. So we have here like those two different folder structure. So CustomTools really creates that folder structure if it doesn't exist yet when you are creating the a new part. So what we can do here is that like we can change the name of this file, and this is like a totally fine from the PDM perspective, that you can just rename your files here, and like PDM will take care of the file references, and everything works still perfectly. And then let's say that like there was that another file that we created in this project. Let's say that we don't need this, that this was some crap that we don't want to, it's still open in, let's close it from here. SolidWorks may keep the file handle open. Don't save. And cancel, and let's do it again. We want to delete this. Okay, then go back to the SolidWorks. Some of you may guess already what will happen. Why I don't have the search available here? Let's reactivate. Reactivate the add-in. Something odd happened. Yes, we want to log in. So if we go to the search, and we did two brackets, and here we have those that we just created. We don't have the preview anymore here, and no possibility to open it. If I try to double click, CustomTools will tell that the file can't be located. So there is basically no way for CustomTools to track those changes. So that is also like another thing that you need to really bear in mind, that if you want to take benefit of CustomTools search and all the other file operations like where used and locating the drawings, you really can't move or rename your files in CAD files in PDM, but you should do that inside SolidWorks while CustomTools add-in is active. If you would be using the PDM professional version, which was not the topic of this webinar, you would have integration, and then you don't have that problem. But here we see that PDM standard doesn't support integrations, so we really cannot use serials from the PDM, or we cannot take benefit any of these integration features. And on the other hand, if we go any of my professional vaults here, then we can adjust these options here. So quickly concluding what we just saw, the PDM standard and CustomTools really complements each other, but due to lack of API, CustomTools is not integrated with PDM standard. And also you should bear in mind that even if you would use CustomTools with PDM standard and would bring you some of the features that are missing in PDM standard, it still doesn't make PDM standard to become professional edition. So there is still reasons to upgrade from standard to professional, even if you would be using CustomTools, and still you would have a great benefit of using CustomTools, for instance, due to the integrations and tasks. And due to limitations in PDM standard, there is certain rules that you should keep in your mind. For instance, the default values and renaming or moving the files inside PDM vault. So if you are now using the PDM standard and are hesitant to upgrade to PDM professional, you may first consider CustomTools to enable some of the crucial features such as serial numbers, reporting, batch operations, or ERP integrations, and then perhaps later on to upgrade to professional as well.
We are in the life-saving business. We kill your routines before they kill you.